Hey everybody, this is Beast. Welcome back to my channel. Today is my mystery bucket list. It's not really going to be a mystery, just going to start off as a mystery. I'm going to give you a few hints of the place that I'm going to be talking about. And then you can be able to guess as we go, and then I'll give you the answer, and then I'll talk about my bucket list for this particular place. So, this place has palm trees. Tropical weather sets the tone of this place all the time. Tropical weather, it has palm trees. This place this state is a surfer's paradise, and a lot of cruise ships depart daily. I mean, they visit this place and they depart daily. It is a major tourist destination in the U.S. It has sandy beaches to border its shorelines. It's a surfer's paradise, and there's all kinds of attractions you can be able to go and see. So, take a quick second and make a guess, and then I'll tell you where I'm going. I mean, what I'm doing for the bucket list. Well, my bucket list is Florida, the state of Florida. Now, ever thought, I mean, even though I've lived there, I've lived in Miami for about 6 months, and I lived in Orlando for about 6 months. I was too poor. I was working day labor. I was struggling to get by. I needed to get out of there, and I was too poor to go and sightsee, which kind of bummed me out, and that's why I left the state. Now, one of my big things on this bucket list is to go onto the Everglades and go and do one of those hovercraft rides. Everybody that I've known that's gone and done this hovercraft ride in the Florida Everglades, they said it's just phenomenal. It's serene, it's peaceful. You see alligators, you see pythons, you see birds of all different types. Even though pythons and boa constrictors are a invasive species to the Everglades, because people were dumb enough to say, well, I can't take care of it, the cage is too big, so I'm going to get rid of it, and they dump it off in the Everglades, and then they produce. I would like to go back to South Beach. South Beach is where I spent 6 months. It was very hot. It was very humid. I drank a lot of soda while I was down there. And I did day labor. I was part of the beach patrol, and I cleaned up trash off the beach. Cleaned up trash, picked up soda pop cans, cashed them in, made a little money. That was a summer thing from May until the end of September. And that's what I got paid for. They had a dorm room or barracks for everybody that worked on the cleanup crews. They had several cleanup crews, and one was in Miami, the other one was in Fort Lauderdale, and then there was another one in Tampa, and I think there was one more beach that I don't remember that they had another crew. And this was just cheap labor. I mean, give them a roof over their heads, and they go out and they work for 10 to 12 hours a day under the table. Trust me, the state paid under the table for people to go and pick up trash off the beach. So I ended up with tax-free money, but I made under minimum wage, and I think it was like $30 a day when I did it. Well, maybe 40. I think it was 30 or 40 bucks a day. And we worked about a 12-hour shift. If you worked straight through, you could work all 7 days if you wanted. If you wanted 1 day off, well, they'd give you 1 day off. Well, I worked 7 days for a while, and I said, you know what, I want to go out clubbing. I want to see what the Miami hotspot clubs are. Well, back in the 80s and 90s, Miami Beach had some of the hottest nightclubs in the country. A lot of your 80s metal hair bands, a lot of your pop stars, a lot of your techno pop stars, all partied and performed at these nightclubs. It wasn't the DJ. It was the real deal with these bands. Now, I haven't been back to Miami since I think it was like 1992. And I would kind of like to go back to Miami just to see South Beach and see how much it's changed. Because South Beach back in the 90s was the slum. It was like a, what do you want to call it, a low-income housing project. So I want to see how South Beach has changed, because I knew that the north part of Miami Beach was developing into high-rise condos, so I'm pretty sure that South Beach is all high-rise condos now. And then I would like to go down to Miami, and I would like to research and see what clubs, and try and remember what clubs that I went to, because I had to spend, I think it was like about $200 or $300 on just clothing so that I look appropriate enough to be able to enter these clubs. If I had t-shirt and blue jeans with sneakers on, they would not let you in. Even if you handed them $1,000, they would not let you in. You had to have a dress shirt on. You had to have dress pants on. You have to have either dress shoes, western boots, and a lot of times if you had a necktie, which I normally wore a bolo bow tie. It's a string tie with a gem on it. It was just simple enough for me, and they accepted that. And my hair was all done back, and well, I was able to go into the club. And if you had a butch cut, if you had a buzz cut, they would not let you in. You'd have to go and get yourself like a fedora or a bowler hat. Pretty much there was a fedora, a bowler hat, and there was like 2 other types of hats that, you know, it was pretty much a requirement for you to be able to have. And I mean, some of these nightclubs were the king of the, I mean, were the place to go. I think I saw Quiet Riot in one of them, and I saw Sammy Hagar and Bruce Springsteen at another 2 clubs while I was down there in Miami. And that was a wonderful concert. That was awesome. And they had pyrotechnics and that sort of thing until, I mean, most of these clubs had pyro until the big nightclub fire in Providence, Rhode Island, that killed a whole bunch of people and a lot of band members, because pyro was, I mean, and pretty much after that, pyro has been outlawed in most nightclubs. So I would like to go back to Miami and see if these nightclubs are still out there, which would be fun. I would like to go back to Universal. I've been to Universal twice. I went to Universal when Harry Potter Land opened, and the lines were 2 miles long. The only thing I did over for Harry Potter was drink some butterbeer and look around the windows at the shops, because all the shops had mile-long lines. So I would like to go back to Universal and get that one done. I want to go back to Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale was a hot spot for 80s and 70s and 80s glam metal bands. It was a hangout. They went to the strip clubs. They went to nightclubs. They went to bars with what do you want to call it? Backdoor lounges is what we called them. And a backdoor lounge, you go in there, and they know that you had some kind of celebrity status. Normally, the lead singer would give them about $1,000, and you go into this back room, and it was a free-for-all drug party. And Miami and Florida in general during that time had more dirty cops that were paid off than any officers in the United States. So if you had a prestigious bar with your speakeasy in the back with all these drugs, nobody would say nothing. Because, I mean, they give $1,000, and normally they take $100 or $200, and if an officer comes by, they, you know, feed the kitty. I like what most people like to call it, feed the kitty. Another place I would like to go to is Milepost Zero. That is the end of, I believe, I-95. I-95? I think that's the end of I-95. Milepost 0 is in the Florida Keys. And the Florida Keys is someplace I've always wanted to go. It used to be a LGBT hotspot. Anytime that most people that was down there was all LGBT, and not a lot of other people would go down there. Now it's just a tourist hotspot, and I would love to go back. I would like to go back down there and go to Milepost 0. I would like to stop at the other keys and see all the sights. Adam the Woo went down, and I saw a bunch of things I've never seen before, and I want to go and see those. So the Florida Keys is another big one. Coming back up, I would like to go to Busch Gardens. This Busch Gardens is a big theme park that I've never been to, that I would love to go to. I want to see what it's all about. There's not a whole lot of videos online of Busch Gardens, and that kind of puzzles me, because it's a huge Disney-like theme park. Actually, it's probably more like a, what do you want to call it, Six Flags, with the petting zoo. That's what somebody told me it was like. And then I want to go to a Tampa Bay Rays baseball game. And then I want to go to a Miami Heat basketball game. Just to say I've been there. That's, two of the biggest teams that I wanted to go and see. It's those two. And then the last one, well, I think I have about one or two more that I would like to mention. I'm putting my list back down so I don't lose it. I would like to go to NASA. The Kennedy Space Center, I think, is what's in Florida. I want to go there just to say that I want to go there. That's prestigious, and maybe when I go down there, there'll be a rocket sitting on the launch pad. That'll be a lot of fun. And they got skydiving adventures down there. I'd like to go and do that. And there's another one that is Florida marlin fishing. Swordfish. Possibly one of the best sport fishing that you could possibly endure in Florida. In Hawaii is marlin fishing. So I would like to go and do that. This is just a small bucket list that I would like to go and complete when I go to Florida. I also would like to go and play a game of golf. The last time I was in Florida, I went and hitchhiked overseas. That's a story for later. And I've hitchhiked overseas twice, and once was to the Bahamas. And that was the first time I ever played golf. I'll tell you that story later. And the other time was when I went to London. And I'll tell you that story again later as well. So, there's my bucket list for Florida. If you're from Florida, or if you've been to Florida and you've done something that you've really liked and would like to share with me, if I research it and I like it, I'll add it to my bucket list. And then someday when I can be able to afford it, I will go to all these destinations. So, drop me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know. And let your friends and family know. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss another one. Until next time, keep on walking.